Okay. We should be live. So that's our recommendation. I mean, I think we can play, if you guys are comfortable, we can put a fork in the appendix piece. This would be what we would want to add from the conference report, the new template. And then we would just recommend taking that timesheet out because that's just kind of.
Off the top of your head, what page?
Seven. Is it, was this called company or you still need it?
Conference, yeah. You know, I don't know the answer.
Like
That could very well be. I've always wondered why it was Form 57, because we don't have a Form 56 or a Form 57, or any other form.
Kind of like, why is it Area 51?
It appears to have been
Another area.
introduced in 1975, based on dates.
Yeah.
So.
And then they didn't revise it for 20 years. That's scheduled here, Josh.
Yeah.
I was at least working on it.
So that would be our only, would be add that in place of the other conference report and pull the time sheet.
A comment that I have,
But it's gonna be in the next.
is that the one that's currently in here doesn't have any specific people's names on it. This does have their own name.
Oh, yeah, and that, I think Drew just printed off a copy of his.
Right.
Yeah, it like the one we put in there, we'll just say Chief HR Officer. Yeah. I think Drew just did that so that we can just sign it. Because the negotiated agreement also says that it has to be reviewed by him before the principal can meet with staff. Give them.
I don't know. Officially.
Already bid on.
Well, no, yeah, well, I'll just try to think through that fine, but.
Sure. Oh, I love one edits.
And we changed these sheet today.
Where you at? Oh, yeah, sure.
Wow. Oh, wow.
We're gonna get organized when we're happy with negotiations.
These two.
We can probably take that part off too, if you guys are comfortable with that. I didn't even notice that. It used to be on triplicate paperwork. And now we just print it off and sign it and make copies. We don't even have the triplicate, take the white, pink and canary off. Because
The standard language, the copy already given.
I don't know the answer to that. I would assume so. I know whenever that. Yeah, we usually have the teacher sign it and make copies and give one to them, and then they have 10 days to, I think it's 10 days or 15 to write a response if they choose to.
Well, I don't think we have language on the certified. The only one I know.
Or maybe it's their evaluation. Maybe I'm thinking
Evaluation.
their evaluation.
Contract.
Sorry.
Follow-up
Page
conference.
55.
We just need to add 2 more pages in.
Maybe,
On it.
maybe we could increase the font.
Add a, 5-figure period.
Yeah.
That really
Why
works.
would you know that? Amber? Why would you know that trick?
I don't even remember what that was for.
We just heard about people doing it. I caught Nick doing it.
I think they are allowed to comment, because we've even got a box for staff comments.
Yeah.
So they're allowed to comment. See, I'm pretty sure.
I just thought those comments had to be like in the comments itself, I guess. Maybe that's not true.
You know, I think they're allowed. I've always let them know. I usually tell them.
You would, that's it.
Is it both timesheets, appendix A and appendix C, you're wanting to?
No, that's not a timesheet. That one's a timesheet. The other one's not a timesheet. That's the document to record your, hours
Mandatory
up.
extra duty timesheet.
yeah, but that's not like a timesheet you're gonna turn in because I did lunch duty. That's,
Right,
So we're
Turn that
just
in.
talking,
so
We're-
just the actual activity timesheet.
yeah. Because the other one, that document doesn't exist anywhere outside of the negotiated agreement. That timesheet, everybody in every secretary of the district's got that.
Right,
So, yeah.
so are we voting on both removal of this and the revision? These,
It's just edits to
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could do it in one vote, unless you guys
Is-
have a problem with one.
where is appendix B referenced?
I mean, I guess I probably,
But
I'm just trying to think about what other things we can take out. Probably.
where is it referenced in
what were
the,
you talking about, speed?
That
The
timesheet. Timesheet.
Oh.
But I guess it's probably in wherever.
I don't even think it's referenced anywhere.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Right.
I was gonna say.
To my knowledge, it's not documented anywhere. If you're doing lunch duty or you're doing, well, that's good. Lunch duty, you actually have to clock in, but
It is referenced on page 9 underneath the professional personal activity. That is the only reference though.
Oh, yeah.
So for the timer, the score, the public address.
for you guys, I mean, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it if it stays in there too. It's not a big deal to me one way or the other. That's a document where it's just gonna show what it looks like. You're never gonna use it because you're gonna get one from your secretary.
Because you need.
Yeah.
I'd like to modernize it a little bit.
I mean, I would be okay with it if we just, instead of removing that, say, you know, like extra duty activity timesheet, like instead of C appendix B, just say, fill out extra duty activity timesheet for whatever, not an A, just like, tell me where to go.
From
But,
secretary, get it from the
oh
secretary,
yeah,
from
you can say that.
supervisor,
Or from
your
your
secretary.
Yeah, or
from building secretary.
From the main
from
office,
Supervisor,
yeah.
main office.
I think it's nice to have a place to point.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't have an issue with that.
Because actually that would be an improvement, because right now, hey, here's what
Right.
it looks like, but
This
Where
is-
do you
this is
get the
actually-
actual thing in
We
use?
go
Yeah,
take that,
I
and
agree.
build it out,
Yeah.
give it to somebody and be like, fill this out
Yeah,
instead.
so.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
okay with that.
Okay.
I still think it should be separate.
Two votes.
So we can.
That's what you do.
Two votes.
I mean, it just feels to me like they're both related to the appendix, but they're like different issues. Right? Yes. Article 3, Section 8, professional personnel.
One time slash.
This is not GPA.
Oh, well. Where's?
That bit, yeah.
First time.
Sure.
You have language, just the other.
Out of work, what you got?
Ooh, I just wrote myself some scribbles. I'm gonna need to work a little bit harder. Hang on. Cause I literally put reference that they need to fill out extra duty timesheet and get it from building secretary. I'll make that a little bit.
I think you could just say extra duty time sheet will be available in all building main offices.
So, okay, so
Or
it said,
all building offices, that might be better because you guys at the academy.
What's not true for ours.
so after this last sentence, it says will be compensated at no less than the lowest rate per hour set forth above. Extra duty timesheets may be obtained from their building secretary.
Okay.
Extra duty. Need to be building work out of obtain.
We're just a building offices, I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
That cover.
Building offices,
Because if you're at the high school, you'll understand.
because it's, you may be one of the athletic office.
Or the main one. Okay, so I just added extra duty time may be obtained from building secretaries.
There you go. Fine.
Sorry, for building secretaries?
Yeah.
From.
Yeah, that's what it says. Extra duty timesheets may be obtained from building secretaries.
Revised conference report. Questions, let's see.
That's probably revising, I mean, it's revising the.
Well, if we're just,
Yeah.
if we're replacing that when it
template.
comes down, provided
Yeah.
it's fine, but now we need to revote.
Because it's not like, there's not really like a material.
That's not a material change.
Listen, I'm just trying to be.
True. He's all right, you're all right. Oh, you knew that. That's what that.
Right.
Okay. So remove timesheet from appendices and revise language under professional personal extra duty. 2, extra duty timesheets may be obtained from building secretaries.
Oh, look, you even hole punched it.
Didn't hold attention, I'm sorry.
I
Sorry.
forgot my whole bunch.
Sorry, I didn't have a-
Swear, I brought my binder though. I remember. No, I thought it was mine when I sat down, I was like, oh, that's not mine. No, it's
Okay,
not.
so-
I know it's not my classroom, not my.
We come up with language for curriculum council, professional development council, safe learning advisory council, and they're all on this page, so we can, I know we need to vote on them separately, but just so you guys have them all to kind of look at them, okay?
It says above, we recommend all at an S.
Yeah, we're recommending putting all of them in an S3. That makes sense? Yeah, and then you guys, one thing I will say, PD council, if you look at the second to the last sentence, the roles and responsibility of professional development council will be outlined in the PDC handbook, which follows guidance from KSDE. They're really big on, there's changes that come to that, and so they've kind of given direction. Heather's gotten direction from KSDE that we don't want to put real specific things in the negotiation negotiated agreement because this thing can change and it's gotta have the ability to supersede the negotiated agreement. So that's why we put that language. And I feel like the Slack one we kind of talked about, but.
Yeah, well, what should I say, we did have language in Slack that we agreed to last time? Or is there substantive differences?
Did we vote on it?
I think so.
Oh,
We,
Oh, no.
I didn't think we
when
voted.
I
I
go over
think,
to this tab.
Wait a minute,
I
it's
see
green.
Link to it.
No, but it
yeah,
was-
and so I think this is our, kind of our count.
We're safe. Mine's green and it shows we voted.
Oh, wait, it split up into the other thing, but there needs to be. So we did vote
Oh, the
on
council,
that, on
yeah,
the
yeah,
council.
yes, we did.
Okay, so we don't need language for that one? Then why do we do that?
If we didn't have who was on it.
Yeah, because he sat there and put the OT and PT and stuff in there.
So this is.
The one we had, I don't think there's any differences. I don't know there's differences.
Ours has a little more with like, they must be voted.
Yeah, because we have the scope.
We've got this specialists.
The specialists are, right, we had one elementary special education teacher, you guys have two.
We had
Oh,
pre-K.
two certified staff members, because we split ours out into special education. Regular.
And you have an early ed and we do not have a specific. Cause we have a total of 7 and you have a total of 8. 2, 3,
No, ours is
4,
7.
7. So what? Oh, one of the sped. So you have one sped. We have one sped.
No, we have two identified sped. I'm guessing,
Oh, one for each level.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the reason we did that was because of green. So
Yeah, it says there's two tabs on
Yeah.
the matrix. There's Safe Learning Environment Council, which,
Teaching advisory.
yeah.
There's
Oh,
like
listen,
learning
if you guys are gonna
environment.
go on the same, you gotta go on the same.
Yeah.
And then there is separately the one, because we had talked about the stuff about like removal.
Yeah.
The thing that we
like
put in the
procedures for that, and that was in
policy
the
instead.
Safe Learning
Environment.
Environment tab. And that one is important,
That's the one that,
because that's one that we were like, we're gonna maybe take this and
Put it in
put
this
it in.
one. Yeah.
So that's why we didn't vote on
that's
that.
what we're in.
okay. So we did, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
But for the
Yeah.
advisory council,
we've already voted. Okay,
So
so
it's not gonna be pretty like the others.
so
which that's fine. I mean, if we've already voted, it's the same amount of people. I can't see what our difference is. People.
Yeah, I can't figure out what the difference is either.
I think it's just like.
well, I think you can put here the roles and responsibilities, no, that's PD.
Right, we have more information, but like.
It's because you have,
You have an elementary sped, an elementary ed, and an elementary
Oh, you just got one of
early
each.
education.
Yeah.
So you have 3 designated elementary. We have 2 pre-K.
That's. And then one that could be pre-K.
Yeah.
Special ed.
Yeah.
So I'm fine if we want to leave that. My only concern is, like Garfield, you're talking about a staff of 26, so probably 27, 28. Even then, they're gonna be specialists. I mean, you don't have that's not a big pool, and so you may not have anybody that wants to. So that's why we thought we'd put them in there, but I mean, I'm fine with that. I think we can roll the dice this next year, and then if we need to,
Make some changes off of that.
yeah, if you guys want to do that, I mean, if everybody's comfortable. with that.
So we,
I think also it
we
kind of
voted that this whole thing goes in the negotiated agreement.
Yeah. Why would-
Stay tuned.
Yeah, or maybe at least put next to each other.
Yeah.
You could name it like.
I'll put them next to each other. Because one is gonna be green, one's not.
Yeah.
Do we have on there that they're elected though? Those positions are elected. You guys have-
You don't.
We have any numbers.
We have,
Yeah, we
just
have it.
say elected.
Cause I remember us talking about that. You know,
Yeah.
we wanted to kind of follow the same format as.
we did not.
And then, I mean, truthfully, I still think the other two, I'm just reading through it. It is following the same format, it's just not as detailed,
Right,
so.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's, we were just trying to make it simple.
Yeah. We good?
Yeah.
Good, okay.
You guys good? Any questions before we go? Okay,
The rationale part, that doesn't have to go in the verbiage, so just this and this.
We don't have that.
yeah,
The-
You guys? Are
The
you
ones
talking
we
about?
gave you guys,
there?
yeah, I
Yeah.
have rationale, but the ones linked in there, that one, that Josh has up, there's no rationale on that.
Gotcha.
it's just, yeah, it's just scope and authority.
And I locked those, just so you guys know, I locked these with this no longer be edited. Like ones voted, like the viewers only.
Okay,
So those, that way, like I said, you can see it says request to add access for mine, that way, no funny business happens. Okay. No, that works.
okay,
So.
Oh, yeah, you're- I don't know. Well, that's you, how you.
we think just 10 minutes?
Nope. Yeah, this is really baby.
Yeah,
I
probably
don't
10
need
minutes.
any-
5:25 then?
Yep, that works. Okay.
I did set all my stuff down right before lunch to the bathroom. Did I? How do you pause?
Just hit back, Mike.
I did remember to open the front door though.
Hey, there we go.
It's not.
Progress.
It's the math class that you take after
All right.
calculus 3.
First question we had was, are these the positions already outlined in the handbook or are these different?
So PD council, yes. Well, PD council just says elementary, so we put people in there, just so the
Oh, I see.
But it's the same number?
same number, yeah.
Okay.
PD council is the same. Curriculum council has a lot of members. We can't afford to pay all those people.
I see. Oh, because it's been,
It's not gonna pay positions. Yeah, yeah, so,
so that would be different.
yeah.
Are those positions all filled?
No.
So
we
we
would
just want to make
just-
sure we're not like cutting anybody out who's currently
No,
in.
You would just not.
but I think people that are currently on there would have to run for election.
Right, but like, we're not gonna like cut their position or
No.
like their.
And
Like
then-
not a situation where everybody who is currently in it could not.
They could, yeah, absolutely. They could totally run, absolutely.
The second thing is, right now, we are going to have term limits based on the language you have in Slack. Are we gonna try to do term limits? for
3
these?
years on all of them.
3 years on all of them?
Yeah.
Are you're opting between or?
No, in my opinion, if you guys are electing them as teachers,
Kind of our-
I mean, I think
And
if
is
they
that
wanna run
like-
again, then they can run again.
And are the terms in the handbooks? Is that why we didn't put them in
Yeah.
here? Yeah.
And
The terms are listed in the handbooks.
And so like PD council is gonna fix itself because we have 2 people going off of PD council this year with, your theater teacher at the high school, Alice.
No,
She's-
wait, it's not. Is it Robin? It's
Robin,
Robin.
I'm sorry, yeah, one of the Hill sisters is going off and Janice Strecker is retiring. So those would be the 2, and then we had 2 that came on last year. And so then we'd have 2 new ones, so you'd have a 1, 2, and a 3 year, so PD council will be fine moving forward.
Okay.
Since we've already got those people elected, we'll be good.
Okay.
The other ones,
we have to go in.
and we're gonna have to just be clear that this is you're applying for the 1 year, the 2 year, or the 3 year, because
Did we
otherwise,
decide how we did that?
otherwise everybody's gonna drop all at one time, and we don't wanna do that.
I remember talking about that last week. Did we decide how we wanted to designate that? Is that gonna be like random?
That's what I think we just,
Random draw,
yeah, we just put all those positions on there and hit the spinner and,
whatever one comes
yeah,
up.
just try to keep them separate so that you don't have both of the high schools coming off at the same time. I think for continuity, you wanna have
I agree with that.
some people on there, so.
Okay. Then the other thing is, can we just add that sentence in from the PD council that says the roles and responsibilities for the curriculum council will be outlined in the curriculum council handbook?
Sure,
I just would like to add that.
yeah, absolutely.
Have a, digital file of this one?
Oh, that would,
That would be on Drew Tone's. drive.
actually, remember I
Just like
retyped
that,
it.
that would have been a good
I
idea.
retyped
Oh,
it
yeah.
because Drew had the only copy and he's gone, so I typed it literally right before the meeting.
Oh, good. work.
Oh, that's right, I forgot. So we can share that with you, Mr. Burnfit. We can actually add that sentence real quick
Mr.
too.
Bergman.
And take out. the-
Take out the bottom.
That's why.
What if we,
I do the slashes every time and it fixes it to dashes. every
It
time.
does it. It's not your fault, it's the computer.
With,
I'm just,
thinking a little bit about
It's on my
organization. of
or on my
everything,
desktop,
Like you have a
it's way
curriculum
faster just to
council
go to
one,
this.
like we have this councils thing now, like should we just consolidate everything?
Or
Maybe
just
get
keep it
to
away.
where, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Now that you're talking. We did, because we talked about how the Safe Learning Advisory Council would actually be a different article. I remember talking about that. last
Section?
week. Yeah,
Yeah, I think.
because
I
it doesn't
remember
really fit
it
anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually, I think.
Yeah,
it's
it says
on there.
section E, which is what you put
Yeah.
for all of these, so these would all be under E.
Like E is the
I
salary
think that's
schedule
Article
regulations.
3, section. Oh, yeah, because
So-
that's, yeah.
Yeah, cause,
Then they would just,
Yeah.
all the councils would just. slide
which is
in
why,
there.
cause you have on yours like E1, E2, E3.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they make sense to go
That's fine.
in that
Okay.
article.
Yeah, that works for me. I agree. Oh, we're gonna push it down one. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna push everything down.
So section E is going to be section F.
I have it, I didn't send it to Levi yet, because is it in, guide, does it follow guidance from KSDE as well? I didn't think so, that's why.
That's a Garden City thing. Because we're better than everybody else. Curriculum Council, it's been around since long before KISA.
I was brainwashed.
You used to present to Kisa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was part of that process, but Curriculum Council's been around for.
Okay, so it just says the roles and responsibilities for the curriculum council will be outlined in the curriculum council handbook,
Yes.
period, okay.
Do you think
No.
if we're gonna have all of these be, if we're gonna have all of these be like 3-year like term limits, like maybe at the, if we're gonna have this article in there, like maybe it makes sense to put that at the top if it's gonna be consistent term limits for.
That's why I asked if it was in the handbooks.
Term limits for all capital will be 3 years. Well, so
Language we agreed.
the language we agreed to has must
Oh,
take
that's
off
true.
at least
That's
1 year between terms.
And the one that you guys had that we agreed?
Yeah.
I
Because
don't
we're
know.
mashing,
Check that out.
During the
we're
calendar.
mashing the calendar committee, but.
Because I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, because you talked about, you said, because calendar committee's appointed versus these are elected.
Well, that one, when we were talking about that, that was because we had originally had GCA was gonna appoint.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I don't remember if we had, I don't remember any specific conversations about the 1 year off in between terms.
Yeah, I remember us talking about it because I remember saying that it's elected, so if they want to run again, they should be able to run without having to sit out.
Levi, it's gonna be easier for you to edit it.
Okay.
So I just sent it to you, because I can't find it. This isn't my normal laptop, so it doesn't have all my stuff.
Folders.
I would just go back and download it and then put it in like.
Right, I'll, not working, it's going on.
Right, because then it'll be in your downloads, but then it'll literally just like, put it in Google Docs.
The only thing I would say too, that we need to make sure everybody's clear on. I know elections have already started for PD council. because we've already got that in place. The other two, we don't have supplementals for, so those elections probably won't happen until August. When we get everybody back. Because we have to get this all ratified and everything. But even if we get it ratified, I don't know that we're gonna be able to have enough time to hold an
Right.
election for that.
Takes a
before,
minute.
You know, so.
That makes sense.
We talked about that last week too, but I just wanna make sure that we're all good with that. Council.
Kim, the director of secondary
Did she?
curriculum instruction, Dr. Duncan,
Next year.
Next year.
is, like, her current title is Bryan
Principal.
Academy Principal, right?
Mhm.
That was, the typo.
What are you looking at?
The Professional Development Council
On the
members
website.
on the website. It has Dr. Virginia Duncan listed as Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction.
They already updated it for
Yeah,
next
you
year.
guys are updated, but you
Yeah,
could be
but she
elementary.
did,
yeah,
secondary,
It is a
not
typo
elementary.
because they have Heather.
Because they have
Stegman as
Heather Stegman
elementary.
as elementary.
They're
So
both
it's-
elementary.
Yeah.
Then
I mean, it
does,
was-
Yeah, we just need to get there. So, they're still working through it. So the template that they got from KSD is pretty
Well,
big.
make sure those links are working. You guys.
Did you put that language in there for curriculum council too?
I think she did already.
No, I couldn't save, like, when I saved it, I couldn't.
Oh,
wait.
it is in there. You just, it didn't delete out the.
Oh, okay.
ASDE.
Double check that one though, because, yeah, it was a little awkward right there, so double check that for me.
That looks good.
That one's just in the curriculum council.
you didn't do the PD one yet?
No, PD's in there
Okay.
too. It's just in a different tab.
Oh, okay, well, the PD thing I clicked on.
Yep,
PD
that looks good too.
Click on the board proposal. And took me to what he gave us last. Oh,
That one did look weird. Go back to that
that
one.
was weird, yeah. It was this was what it was originally, but probably just they hadn't updated.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It was taking a minute. Okay.
Any other questions, concerns, Joe? Oh, yeah, that's caucus for 5. 5:48.
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
He uses
Thanks,
the
Linda.
lawnmower,
Kinda smart.
like in his car and he's. He's gonna come out, Joey's gonna.
We have a couple of things. First, there might be a bit of an issue with the curriculum council because they have a very important meeting at the very beginning of the year that they have to do to approve college classes to be used for the secondary level. And we don't think the elected, those who are gonna be elected are gonna be
My
ready to do
understanding,
that.
my understanding from Dr. Duncan,
Uh,
I'll call her to confirm tomorrow, but I'm 99.99% sure she's planning on having that all done before we go home for the summer.
Okay.
That was my understanding. So,
Um,
because most of those college courses, once they've been approved, they don't have to go again. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the way it's been going, up until now is like, if a kid takes a random GCSE course, they gotta code it, find that code for that course to apply to high school level.
Are you talking over the summer?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that that needs to be voted on first thing in August. Because if we're adding it to their transcripts, why would we have to add it in August? Because they don't need it until they graduate. It'll be done in September. Unless I'm missing something, Becca. What am I missing?
Just to be
The,
clear, I did not ask.
No, she's over there nodding, so I just want to make sure that I understand. Tell me what I'm
the
missing.
September 20 count audit with classes. And so that August, we had it scheduled second week and then this year we realized the list. It's for classes that they
Are currently enrolled in.
No, they advertise, but then don't confirm with us that that's a class we already have. And it would apply to CTE application classes that we don't already have on the books. And we have approved all the ones that relate to our current, but if it's an application class, so that level 3 class, and if the college offers it and the kid takes it in the summer, and sometimes Emily Hamlin will tell you, we don't know that it's being offered until it is. They don't even tell our liaison.
Which that's
So then it affects our September 20 audit.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, in general, there's a September 20 audit problem that we've been flagged on because the kids' transcripts aren't right. Because by the time they get it to us and then we pass it through the council for the very first board meeting,
We're not talking graduation requirements. We're talking about CTE hours.
yes, it's mostly in relation to CTE and some sort of September audit.
Okay.
September 20 audit.
Get this wrapped up so we can get the council voted in
Yeah.
before.
That's the caveat I'm throwing out there is that if you're gonna start elections in August, which is completely fine, there's gonna need to be an August meeting. So I suggested like a sunset clause for that August meeting.
And we could do that too. I mean, we could,
Unless the board is willing to accept it on the very first read.
Which they do if we ask them.
No, yeah, no,
it's a time crunch. They're usually pretty good about that.
yeah.
But even then,
Do you see what the issue is of,
Yeah, I
because we
do.
used to never meet in August. That used to be a no-go.
right,
But we had to because of multiple offerings that the college does not tell Emily or Ryan about.
Can you get it voted on at the first September board meeting?
But you would have to have your people elected.
You just have to elect them right away when people come back.
okay.
The
Could you just elect them,
The 12th is the.
could you elect them before the end of the school year? And just have it like a tentative election?
The 12th.
Yeah, I mean,
with the negotiation
we can keep the
starting by-
current structure that we have and then just, they would start in September. I mean, we could do something like that too.
Well, I just suggested a sunset clause for the one August meeting, and then your new people start September, the second Tuesday in September.
Yeah, I'm good with that. And I would just say the September meeting. That way, if you guys change, if the council changes, instead of the second Tuesday, you know, if they want to do the second Monday or whatever, you know, just say the September meeting, the new council would take effect.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would the only issue would be this upcoming year, because you can do the same thing.
Everything's gonna be,
After
yeah.
that.
I'm good
I
with
just
that.
think it would be, I think it would be difficult to have a curriculum council meet in August. And it's not the real one that's going to be like going forward, for free. And then September 1, that's gonna be paid and that's free. And there's a dichotomy there that's a little strange.
I mean, we can have new time sheets for that.
I was just gonna ask, can we do a timesheet for
Yeah.
that?
I don't know. I mean, that's, yeah, not a big deal. I mean, don't you agree?
That would satisfy.
I mean, one meeting for an hour and a half. Yeah,
How do you, like, that doesn't need to be in the negotiated agreement or it does?
because they're not gonna be the elected council members. You know what I'm
Does
saying?
that, conflict with the 4 hours of extra duty pay?
No, they just wouldn't be able to count that as their 4 hours. So, yeah, I'd be fine with that.
How many members are we talking?
Like 6, 5, yeah. There's a lot more positions, but not a lot. Not a lot.
It's, yeah, for curriculum council in here, you'll have 7, well, I mean, I don't know.
I'm
Yeah,
never
for
there.
the current,
Right.
yeah.
So then are the stipends prorated for the first year?
I would say not, because they're still gonna be,
Well, then it will just go September to September every year, but August will be like the end
I
of
mean,
it.
that's a little bit
You
weird.
can't go September, September, people.
Oh, you're saying because of the
Just for the first year.
contract, yeah.
Just the first year, it is kind of wonky, yeah. Okay. Second thing is easy fix. We're just gonna change certified staff members to certified employees. And.
Yeah.
In there. And then. This might not be the last one. They might fix this for me, but I think, one more thing we had is, we would like to add one member to the PD council, and that's a special education certified employee. One, it matches the curriculum council. There's 6 right now in PD, 7 on curriculum council. And there's no special, like, designated special education person in PD council. And one of the groups we hear a lot from on PD is special education.
you're basically saying you want it to line with exactly what curriculum council.
Well, it's not quite exact because it's the numbers are still a little bit different in terms of like who's on it, right?
The split is different.
the
They
split.
do 5/8
Yeah.
versus 5/12.
On the curriculum council, it's 5/12, and yeah, on PD, it's 5/8 and then 9/12.
I guess what would prevent an elementary sped teacher from running in one of those seats?
No, you're right.
That would be my only,
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It is the same on the curriculum council though too, right?
right.
Um,
The only reason we did sped on curriculum councils, there's a lot of curriculums that are sped specific. I mean, you've got like the leap rooms when we went to, each town. I know the RISE rooms have, at certain levels have different curriculums. And so, I mean, you're gonna have curriculums that are sped specific coming through curriculum council for adoption.
Yeah,
I know I did that when I was the director. We had curriculums that we had to get adopted. And that's why I do think from a curriculum standpoint specifically, yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're not gonna argue that curriculum is smart. We think it's smart to have it on there.
I think that we just think like that it is valuable on these committees to make sure that you have like a broad range of perspectives. Because, you know, currently on the professional development council, like, yes, somebody who is sped might get elected, or they might not.
So I guess the other thing that I would say is you're gonna have a very small pool of people. You're gonna have a very small voting pool if you do that as well. Because the only people that would be voting for those sped teachers are going to be sped specific people. I mean, cause like Tracy can't vote for a high school person,
Yeah.
right? And so you're talking, I mean, when I was there, I think we've got like 78, I had 78 teachers. So, I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from sped. I mean, I think everybody in this room knows how I feel about special education. So I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that one, the pool of people that are gonna run for that is gonna be very small. 2, the pool of people that are gonna be voting for that is gonna be very small. And it's not gonna be representative of the district as a whole, when you think of, you've got 120, 130 at Garden City High School. And Achieve, when you throw Achieve in on top of that, it's even more. The elementary level, you've got a ton of people.
Right.
I mean, it's just, there's a bigger population of people that are being elected for that.
So, maybe I misunderstanding something, for sped, like, for example, all of Garfield, I know they have to have a sped endorsement, that would not be included in that when you're talking about special education?
They would,
They would,
yes.
okay. Well, I mean, did not give me that small of a group, okay?
It's about 78,
Is that it? For the district? or
Well,
sped endorse?
maybe more than that now, but when I was there, we had about 78. I think one year we had 82. So
Less than 100.
it was less than 100 when
I
I
would
was
not
there.
have guessed that, yeah, so, okay.
I mean, I would imagine if you would take your, probably, if you take your speech pathologists and those folks in there, that it could get closer to 100.
Okay.
So,
But typically those folks plan their own professional development. I mean, speech pathologists need continuing hours. And so Gina works with them and she organizes that for them. The school psychs are gonna do the same thing. And so they wouldn't necessarily need representation on there because they're gonna, on a lot of those days, on district days, they're gonna have specific things planned and laid out for them.
Was there anything else on that before? There was one more.
The
Oh,
administrator.
administrators, right? We're good with the numbers, that's no problem. We're just thinking instead of listing them the way we have it there, let's match the Slack and just have it in there. The administration may select up to 4 administrators
Okay.
or
Because
whatever.
it says the following members will be elected by their peers.
Right.
So are the administrators electing?
Yeah, we were gonna have the administrators elect their own administrators.
Oh,
That was our plan.
gotcha.
And the reason for that is, I think, that's kind of direction that Heather's got from PD Council, is that
Okay,
administrators should have a voice in what their PD looks like too.
so, curriculum council too? For the reading, the election for the curriculum council too? Okay.
We can tell you that that's gonna be a very limited number of people that are gonna want to
It's
do it. I'm
gonna be
guessing if I
electronic.
volunteer to do it, you're gonna be
Everyone
elected, because
will
nobody
vote.
else is gonna
Yeah.
wanna do it, because it's just such a small group. You know, now I will say like the safe learning environment in my mind, our co-chair for that is gonna be Gina Galpin,
Mhm.
just because that's where the majority of our behaviors come from, is SPED. So I think Gina needs to be the co-chair as far as the administrator at the district level for that one. Yeah, well, I'm gonna
As
tell Gina that she needs to
volunteered or
run.
voluntold or.
Yeah. I will say PD council and curriculum council,
Well, technically for Slack, we didn't put in that there could be elected.
Yeah.
but we will do that.
I mean, there's also like, since the negotiated agreement is governing how this is working for like certified
Oh, true.
employees who are doing this, so like,
It
there
doesn't
could just
apply
be
to
a sentence
administrators
anyway,
anyways.
it's like. The district would choose for up to 4 administrators.
Yeah, 'cause it doesn't apply.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to.
Yeah,
that.
well, that's
You all
true.
can choose
The
how.
principal would be like,
Yeah,
Well, it
But
doesn't
we
matter.
did put elected on the safe learning advisory.
yeah, but we didn't list.
We didn't
the
list admin, yeah.
Admin.
And
So if you go,
they
if you go to
We-
the top of
we
the next
did, but-
page, it's the district's administration.
Yeah, so I don't think the 4 admin or the 1 technology admin need to be on there.
Yeah, I think just to be consistent between the ones, I think we just put that sentence in there that says.
The district's administration may appoint up to 4 administration level representatives to serve on the council.
Yeah,
instead of,
is that listed in there? Is that
that's
all right?
fine, yeah. Actually,
Yeah, should we make it 5 for that one? Cause that way you guys can appoint a technology administrator if you want.
yeah, and honestly, I don't even, like for PD council, we just want somebody there to make sure that the curriculum that we're selecting we can support the technology, so they don't even have to be a voting member. We just
Now
want
we
them to
put
be
up
there,
to 4,
you know.
like.
And I think it's been Tyler for the last couple of years, and so,
So the district administration may appoint up to 4 administration level representatives to serve on the council for PD council. Or do you want, so 4 is good, or do you want me to change that to 5?
4 is fine.
And then,
Do you think that should go there or,
At the
sorry, I'm just,
beginning.
yeah, When we put it in the, yeah.
Dave. Yeah, pull it up this week. Follow along. So just leave that, don't mess with that until we get done. We're done, we have to turn that off. I think. Jason gave me a crash course, so we gotta see if we get this right.
Take notes during your crash course, Dash.
Okay, so you'll add that sentence after the
May
bullet
appoint up to-
points.
yeah, it's already on there. Yeah. Just do it like that. Yep. I'm good with that.
Doesn't bother you if it comes, don't.
Maybe seven. Otherwise, well, we can caucus for a minute. Caucus for 5. 6:18.
Right.
amenable to removing the special education designation on curriculum council and putting that person on the PD council. As a resident special education teacher here, not me, when we asked one, she thinks that it's more important to get on the PD council than it is.
So. That's a couple questions. Are you comfortable with
Yeah,
that?
that's fine.
So Linda, talk to me about why that's so important. I guess. Because from my perspective, I think you having somebody on curriculum council is way more important, but that's coming from my,
Well, because
My-
what I understood was Gina was already on curriculum council, or is she not on curriculum council? Gina Galpin.
She's on the safe learning advisory.
Oh, safe and learning, okay.
yeah, I don't.
She's also on.
She's also on curriculum,
Okay,
so I
but
figured she was already on
she may
there.
not be on
Oh, okay.
curriculum next year. I mean, if I'm gonna have her take over another council, she may, I mean, that's kind of unfair to have her on. two
Right.
councils. So, so,
Well, from a resource aspect, I guess I'm thinking self-contained. We never had curriculum, as far as we just taught the gen ed curriculum and, then when we wanted the curriculum that was, modified, SPED never purchased it because it was so expensive. And so, I mean, that's from my standpoint when it came
Okay.
to that. And so I just figured because with curriculum, you don't purchase any,
just
we
don't
don't have this, we don't
like, all of our
have,
life skills classrooms run a completely different curriculum.
yeah, see, I didn't know that. So,
Day school has a different
yeah,
curriculum.
I didn't know that. So,
I can't say what TP does. I think they still run the regular curriculum.
yeah. So either way, I mean,
That would be my thing. I just feel like it's really important that we have a sped person curriculum stuff. The other thing is we're adopting new curriculums. Where it's important to have a sped person is, are there supports for our sped kids with the new curriculum that we're adopting? What does that look like? I mean, those
Right.
things, I think, we've got a brand new ELA curriculum coming out. What are the supports gonna look like for special ed? I think having a sped person and their input on that is gonna be important. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we asked for on both is we agree that it's important to have both.
Yeah,
But we were thinking maybe there'd be an option to have, to make the switch just because maybe we could be wrong on which side is more important, but
the other thing I could say too is I don't have a problem telling Gina that she's gotta make Morgan or somebody be on PD council as one of the administrators too. So that we have representation here.
Wouldn't it just be better?
My-
if it's
my-
7, 7, 7?
It'd be better if we
He's gonna ask
did
you.
6, 6, and 6 to save money.
I think that's my rub. I mean, you guys gotta understand, as we do this, that's, we're taking money out of it's all in one pot, so. The more we add to things, the less we have to do raises down the road, so. We're trying to be as equitable as possible and still try to do as much as we can when we get to those conversations.
I think we need to vote.
well, let's put it this way, if you're not ready to vote, you need to say conference.
Leaving it out of this.
When you're cutting them all down.
On your conscience, guys.
With our changes, with the certified employees, the
Right.
administrators at the end, but yes, the composition. will be the composition.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Are we good?
What are we voting on?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
but-
good question. Let's do curriculum council. That's one I have up.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Curriculum council. All right. Right, what type A? There you go. Okay, that was
Shift.
Shift.
That shift button.
All right, PD council. I was the only one, I thought maybe there would be someone in there that would. No.
Why you give me a side eye?
There you go.
Just checking, making sure. Yeah, what?
That's a fine.
Not one.
Yeah, one.
You didn't say anything good, I didn't hear you there. I didn't mess it up yet. There we go.
This time we vote.
I'm with you,
For the
Tracy.
deserve.
Is it every time we vote or is it every time we vote yes?
Oh, yeah.
It is.
At this point, just vote.
Stand and bow.
Thank you. Think we do the let's rumble when we caucus.
I do feel like we need like some sound effects for.
Might get more viewers.
He has something else in his hand.
So we,
Oh, yeah. Yes, what else?
yeah, so we talked dress code,
Oh, yeah.
so we've got language for that. You guys have any problems?
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't have
hold
hold
the
on
lines
So,
Yeah.
uh,
Intentionally, I
so Jessica didn't hold much these, so I apologize.
Because they were Josh's.
Yes.
You notice Jessica said Jessica brought her whole bunch.
Okay.
I thought it was.
So, you wanna start?
No, I was gonna say, I'll start coming in your office and making sure that I, you know, put the papers for you. All right,
Um,
you got it.
So we just, one, wanna simplify this. So we kind of come up with something similar. I think from conversations that I've had, there's been a lot of conversation about jeans and being able to wear jeans on a daily basis. I wanna go on record by saying I'm not in support of it, but I think we're gonna concede to that. I just feel like if we wanna be treated as professionals, we should dress as professionals, but I also realize that I'm getting old. And it's a generational thing and it is what it is. So this is kind of what we put together.
We basically took what exists and simplified it, like taking into consideration what you guys have.
A couple things that I would say, really, really important to me, if we're gonna wear jeans, they've gotta be respectful jeans. I don't wanna see holes in jeans. I don't wanna see frayed pant legs. I don't wanna see stuff like that. They have got to be. And even though, you know, we talk about being in good repair, Beth Guyman will tell you that her pants are in good repair, even though there's 25 holes in them, because that's how she bought them. That is not appropriate for work. And so we need to communicate that. As administrators, we will communicate that, but if we're gonna go that direction, it's really important, I think, that the association communicates that as well. That's my biggest hang up with all of it. But it's also not ill that I feel like I wanna die. So. When I first started teaching, I wore a tie to school every day as a teacher. I don't know, hardly, with the exception of Raj at the high school. I don't think hardly any teacher wear ties, and now people wear ties anymore, so. And Raj dresses nicer than I do most days, so.
I think COVID especially makes it weird.
You watched a Leader and Me video about how to find them.
Sharpen saw today, and it was totally a COVID video. He had his own screen, he was in one room, she had hers shown, and they're like, oh, it'd be great to see you, it'd be great to see you, and like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is a COVID video, what are we watching? It was crazy.
And then the discipline one, we just wanted to keep that language consistent with what we had before. I mean, I think, you know, if you come in and you're not dressed appropriately, we can talk and give you verbal warning, and then we have another conversation, and I document that conversation in the third time. It's 157. My experience with that in all the years that I've dealt with dress code, we talked to a teacher one time, and I was talking again, so.
One of the things that I really thought was important for the professional draws policy was doing away with the gender split.
Okay,
And I mean, I don't know how much everybody is aware of the issue we had with that at the beginning of the year, with a certified employee being attacked for their dress, by community members.
oh,
When we have.
not at Garden City High School.
Not at Garden City High School,
Okay,
no,
I was
different
like,
school,
yeah,
different
yeah,
school.
yeah,
I don't want to be more specific than that.
I know who you're talking about.
When we have a policy in there that says one thing for the gender, one thing for another gender, it creates issues in that area, in my opinion.
So just take out men and women and remove the duplications.
I think that would potentially
I
be
don't have an issue with
I'm
that.
fine.
one area. I don't think that's entirely for my team, but that is one area for me that would be helpful.
So sweater and sport coat would be added to the list currently under women and remove men and women. Yeah. The slugs, khakis, jeans, and color are duplicated.
Something like professional business casual clothing includes.
Yeah.
Listing of
These types of items.
So clothing should meet the minimum standard of business casual. Examples below, like replace that wording, is that what you're saying?
I think you can, clothing should meet the minimum standard of business casual, examples
example.
below. And then
Yeah.
just take out, just put the
List.
examples and take out the other stuff. I think you just do
Leave the
one
clothing,
and have the
shoes, and
examples
repair.
and then
Yeah,
you put
clothing.
two,
As
clothing
or
and
number
shoes
three.
must be in good repairs and
Yeah.
suitable
So
professional
that
school
becomes
setting.
number two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think, cause I remember conversation last week about like shoes particularly. And I think like there are times when it's like, okay, like athletic shoes are like maybe,
I don't have a problem with that.
right? I wonder because it says business casual and then there's just sort of no comment on what is, like, I wonder if it would be,
So for me, the biggest thing for shoes is I don't want holes in your shoes.
sure,
That's what I care
Sure.
about.
And it does say down below, appropriate for the school setting and the day's activities.
that's fair. I guess I'm thinking about like next year in like the transition, if there's not, like, are there gonna be people who are like,
Or you guys
Like,
something more explicit?
athletic shoes are okay?
Did we not? I thought we addressed that somewhere in here, did we
Just as
not?
bias, clothing and shoes must be in good repair and suitable for professional school setting.
And so, yeah, I
Right.
mean, I think we left it vague so that if you
Right.
felt like you wanted to wear athletic shoes,
Sure.
as long as they're in good repair, you know.
Cause like.
Cause I'll be
honestly,
honest with
Right.
you, we've got a ton of teachers that wear them every day
Oh, yeah.
anyway, and they'll tell you, and I don't care. I mean, shoes are less of a
Right,
deal
like
to
you're
me.
On your
If you're,
feet all the
if,
time,
if you,
yeah.
if you got, you know, feet issues or back issues or whatever,
Right.
you know.
Really,
So-
there's not a specific shoe that you could put that to exclude. So
Right.
that's why I think we just left it.
I think that there's just a, like, I don't know, I look at last year, like what is currently in there and this, and like, I don't know, I think it just might be a little bit weird in the transition, people being unsure if things are okay.
I think that's a communication piece. That's gotta be responsible on both sides for that.
Well, and it says if you're uncertain, ask the building.
Right.
You gotta kind of put yourself.
Any questions from Joe? August for 5.
For 5, is that what you said?
31.
5:40.
6:40?
6:40. We'll think. We'll think.
At least we don't have John sitting by the bedside. Break that thing down so you can hang meat. That's right on board.
How my house is.
Election.
Mine's 65 year round.
Well, the AC guy told us we couldn't keep it at 66 and so we keep it at 60.
I'd fire
One degree, huh?
Daughter's house is 60.
That's what mine is. That's.
mean, I let my body.
At least I don't want it at 60.
Absolutely. And you die, you're preserved.
Then you gotta get out of the
Better.
house at some point.
It's just better. You die, you're preserved.
So,
It's just better. But it's harder for people to figure out. That's okay, I need some peace.
choose. So the first sentence or sentence is, we were hoping to change that to the Board of Education encourages certified employees to maintain a professional appearance. We think business casual kind of conflicts with some of the things that are on here.
Okay.
It might muddy the waters a little bit.
Especially because it's a thing that you can like, Google, what is business casual,
Yeah.
right?
And
Some of
see
the
some
things-
things not.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
So the Board of Education encourages certified employees to maintain a professional appearance.
And then we can keep examples below. Right. And
And then
then,
leave-in clothing should meet the minimum standard. Oh, you're saying take that out.
So take out everything after encourages and just replace it with to maintain a professional appearance.
yeah. And then add in school shirts for examples.
So the Board of Education encourages employees to maintain a
Professional appearance, examples below. Number 1 would be a list of all of them, plus school shirts. Number 2 would be statement.
And then what was your other one?
That was it.
That was the second one.
The add school shirts.
Oh, add school shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, just to the list?
Yeah.
I'm not a great multitasker. I was still writing up here.
So. If somebody, he wears something that I'm the principal, I don't agree with. Do I have the authority as a principal to override what he thinks, or does it have to go up to the? Who had, I guess it's gonna happen.
Sure.
Something is gonna get questioned.
Yeah.
Who is ultimately gonna make that decision? The
The principal.
superintendent or the principal has that authority to,
Principal has the authority.
Principals have the authority, and then if we disagree with it.
then you
we
grieve
agree.
it, right? I just think it should kind of make sure it says that, that principal has the. I mean, it kind of says that, but
We probably need an apostrophe, certified.
Where are you looking at that
The discipline issues, sentence. Certified employees, supervisor,
Yeah, so
that you certified
that's gonna be.
employees.
Discipline issues regarding professional dress will be handled by the certified employee supervisor, which will be the principal most of the time. After consultation.
I feel like you broke that up, so I think that used to be like,
It is true because my supervisor didn't used to be my principal. Or it's my supervisor was hands since I taught habit. So.
That was interesting.
There are rare occasions where the principal.
minimum.
This one I did not retype. I could retype it as we discussed
You
and
guys
send
have-
it to you. That's cipher.
You have that one too.
Should be, Jack, you need a copy.
Okay. Jessica, what we have is a shared folder that we've got all our things into. You want to tell Drew to make that for
Drew
you?
gets stingy with you.
Oh, he won't.
Oh,
But tell him, you need
He was stingy with his stuff after tonight. I'm like, you're either here,
That's
buddy.
it, buddy. If you're not gonna be here.
You're gonna retype that whole thing there?
Yeah, I'm a fast typer.
I'm being a little
It
bit
will
better.
not be me.
Oh, I
Now
didn't
I
know
know.
this. Suspicion me, right?
He's also got the advantage.
Right.
But Levi can beat us all in typing with 3 fingers.
I don't know, just as bad.
I was pretty fast when I was taking the master's, but I slowed down a lot.
I just love my students, where it's like, I can like type that way. It's, what are you doing? Like I'm possessed. I'm like, guys, I had to take typing classes and like, my teacher was strict. He would yell at us. I'll be so scared. Don't you look at that keyboard.
That's, you gotta have pressure.
We had a thing that went over top of.
Like, I hated that class, but I do.
No, I took typing class on a typewriter. So I didn't have computers when I did mine.
Oh, yeah, I took that test one time. I was not being anywhere
I
close
can't
to
even
where-
use 3 fingers. I only use 2 on each hand.
You don't take typing classes.
Nope.
I tell you what. Sit down a competitive person
That
and
was
tell them they have to beat the typing game without looking. Oh, I would get so angry.
They don't even have their keyboards are black. They don't even have, they're all worn. The letters,
Yeah.
not even a letter on
Because they
it. And it's
type.
like.
My best friends in high school, his mom, lost one mid-arm down, in an accident when she was a kid. She was like that.
one hand.
We had a guy that worked at the police department and he needed to see every key. We took them all off one day and put them on the wrong spot. Remember that?
Oh, that
That
was
is-
fun.
I was
So
gonna
all
say,
that, you can pop them off.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
And then it was before they were all curved, so they were
Deserves
all the
that.
same size. And then we switched the language in over time.
They still, do that. They get IT to get it down, correct? So like when you type a certain word, it auto breaks to some like clown, some funny word, and they don't notice until they're done, they're like.
Yeah.
"No, I didn't."
I got some scribbles.
Yes, power.
Oh, Jessica's only got like 1 sentence left.
Yep.
Do you think that means that you win or
Yeah.
lose?
Oh,
We're finished.
I would contend that if I do not, I refuse to attempt to prove myself the fastest typer, I will ask you. I'm just saying.
I'll let you do this while riding in an ice storm in the passenger seat of a Honda Civic. With just yourself,
And the windows.
With
fall.
what?
with just yourself.
That movie with Robin Williams where he's like on vacation with his family, but he lied.
RV,
RV,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
and he's in the
One
bathroom
of
on
the
his
best shows ever,
BlackBerry,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't he like deleted or something on
No, He
accident?
leaves his laptop.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
in the camping.
Yeah.
In the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So then he's trying to do it on his phone.
On his BlackBerry, yeah.
I love
Chance
The
had
greatest
BlackBerry.
phone
I remember when we first
Yeah.
got Blackberries, that was like the best technology ever. You're like, wow,
That brick breaker.
It's
I can read my email.
You
on
never
my
thought
phone.
anything better was gonna come.
Yeah,
Loading.
Oh,
the
yeah, you were like, how could it
version
ever
of
get
the
better
actual
than
webpage
BlackBerry?
for-
and then,
It had a mouse button.
and then the
And
Apple
little thing
phone
you
comes
could
out
take
and,
out
and we wanted,
stylus
everybody
it.
wanted to get Apple phones and the district was like, no, you have to have a BlackBerry. I mean, our contracts were written as administrators that we had to have a BlackBerry. Because at the time, the software we had would only support BlackBerries. And so then we finally got technology back off on that. Then pretty soon, like 3 or 4 years later, everybody's got an Apple phone, except for Will Cessna, who was not gonna, he was gonna die. with
I know there was cookies. but
Finally
it
got to the
was-
point where he just couldn't support it.
Not yoga.
Oh, they're up to squiggles up.
Oh, I'm done without squiggles.
Without squiggles.
My squiggles are done. So, I'll have this, do you want me to sit
I
it
can't have the
or I'll
cookies.
just have this for us?
You're a lactose person? No, no, it's not lactose. It's actually the casein protein. I think.
Like specifically cream cheese.
No, soft cheese.
Oh, you made it again?
A
Mozzarella.
little different.
Little
It's different.
soft cheeses.
This is
I
cream
get,
cheese and It's those.
I get stuffy and I am getting over a sinus infection, so I cannot, or I will have an ear infection.
Not worth it.
And then my husband will be mad if I.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. You guys don't eat any, I'll have to eat it like the next 4 days.
It's delicious. I really do.
I'm probably gonna take
There you
some.
go. Corey, your last time when we got her
Is that
brownies.
fruit salad?
Strawberries,
That's about the time I got off, 'cause I was
Cream
like
cheese
Chinese
with-
food and brownies and I'm on there.
Pretzels and walnuts that are, candied, yeah, like candied pretzels.
This is.
Dress code, yep. Yeah. Again, I made it for myself. I think it's the radio, so I went ahead and changed it.
What's in here?
Cream cheese, Cool Whip, strawberries,
Almond.
and it's candied like pretzels and
Oh,
walnuts. Fresh stuff.
Oh, you know, there's still a reference to potential in there, but it's not sure.
Like a paragraph.
Certified employee who's uncertain about whether clothing items.
As professional attire.
Yeah.
Have to get out and go back in. I have to get out and go back in it to see his edits, Joshua.
Call me Joshua. That's not.
ooh, that's deep.
Strawberry fluff.
There's nuts in it, right? Nuts.
Trying to kill us.
Not today.
Get thirsty for them.
Not today.
You have cream cheese, just yogurt.
None of it. Mm-mm.
I tried to when I made you run.
Like Jeopardy when you can't make it.
Ooh, good one. Like I have a sound on my computer when students check out. If they have like missing books, it goes.
Oh, no,
you
that
like that?
green.
We have reassigned transfers ready, but I kind of figured you guys didn't know that when you put out there.
What's your PD opportunities? Does it all go along with the PD?
Let me go look what that was. No, not really, but we're actually, we could probably just cross it out because we're gonna bring it up over a different section. Yes. So here. I don't know.
You printed it?
Yes.
Was it a printed copy?
I got you.
It's in my binder somewhere.
Let me read this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That
that
one.
one's fine.
Forgot about that one.
A little bit about Maxine, real quick. So I went back to the survey, that we did all the way back in January. And when we asked people about nesting, we asked them, what are some concerns you have about nesting? And no one told us anything about like inequities that they were saw in nesting in terms of
In terms of class size.
in terms of class sizes, right? And so for us, it's just it doesn't seem like it's a big of a problem in terms of inequality for our teachers. Now, I took a note and I'm going, I would like to.
They're not gonna have issues with being an inequity if they're getting paid double for having 15 kids in their class. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that's a concern.
Theoretically,
That
the
would not
person
be a
next door
concern to
would,
me.
right?
They
Not-
know about it.
Not
yeah.
necessarily, I mean,
Well, that was the rationale y'all
mean,
gave last week.
but I mean,
I guess if your statement there is then not necessarily, then it's like, okay, well, teachers don't care about this, you know?
okay,
I mean, it's not a thing that showed up in the first place.
so basically, if what you're saying then is anything that we bring to you, if it's not an issue in your survey, then we're not gonna vote on it.
I don't think I said that.
But you see what I'm saying?
I think that if we're talking about inequalities for teachers, right? And then approaching this from the perspective of like the GCA cares about the opinions and what the teachers feel the perceived employees.
The rationale you guys gave us last time was that it was.
Yes, you are correct.
So
You are
like,
correct. But I would also say that that opportunity is not gonna be available to any other teacher to do that unless you teach at Garfield. That's the only place that's gonna be.
I don't want to. Garfield, so
Yeah.
we'll not do it. Listen, if you- there's opportunities that I have that people at Garfield don't have opportunities for, right? Like,
I just don't think that was the rationale behind why we did what we did when we talked about nesting. That's fine. You guys.
So we had our own nesting changes that we were hoping to propose. No substantive changes in terms of how it's paid. That will remain the same. We just like this and it's in there. That's great. This provision applies to any certified employee past and associate outside of their designated planning time. This happens in particular for librarians who are asked to sub. And actually, this does not apply to our current librarian at the table. It does not apply to her. And then just remove the current UE policy language for class size because
Mostly because it's just sort of extra in
Yeah, it's
there, right? It has no impact on the way that that's currently like paid. There's no reference to it in any other version of it, and so it just kind of feels like it's extra, like, why is this everything not?
so for the rationale, you can read that bottom, but basically,
So the rationale you're not saying you're putting in there, that's just. why you're
Right,
making
that's
the
just like why
changes.
we're
yeah,
making the
why
changes
we're
we're
making
making.
changes.
Ready?
I need to get up anyways. How many soccer people have been long inside the nerves?
They schedule their plan time. If they can't have the same. time as it's there. I'm gonna meet with first grade at this time. I gotta meet with second grade at this time. You know what I mean? And so they're never gonna have a consistent schedule. Same with counselors. Counselors are the same.
Do they have it designated? Like, I'm not saying it's like permanent, but like
yeah, I think
designated for
that
that day.
So are you including counselors?
I have not heard of counselors being asked to sub. Yes,
They
they
are.
asked to sub.
Yeah, they would.
There you go.
And actually, these people are asked first because, like you said, it is less disruptive
Yeah.
to students.
Right, thank you. I
Okay.
was like, yes, there is a door.
We probably need to caucus on this one. 7:10.
I don't know, it's right there.
Most of it, watching the rest.
It's something.
The only way David Daly.
I put my pen over here for, and I don't know.
Okay. So this one, I think we're struggling with a little bit. So a couple things I would say that I've learned just in this last year, like, as Drew and I have been working on meeting with principals and going over program planning and looking at like building master schedules, like our special teachers, our PE, almost, I'm not gonna say all of them, but almost all of them have more planning time than the negotiated agreement says they should have. So in my mind, they should be the first people to sub because they've got more planning time than anybody else. I mean, in excess of what they're guaranteed in the negotiated agreement. So, and some of them have a lot more plan time. That's something that Drew and I have talked about that we've got to clean up kind of moving forward, because I think as we have continued to see enrollment decline and we have closed sections at the elementary levels all around the district, we haven't reduced the number of specials teachers in any building since we did that. And so, you know, I can think of one elementary school where they pretty much have the whole afternoon off every other day. And so that's way more than any other teacher gets. So I'm having a hard time paying them when they're getting way more time than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be equal across the board. I don't
When you
want
say plan time though, like, this is not designated plan time. It's just extra.
So like if I'm a music teacher, or I'm a PE teacher, I'm an art teacher, I've got so many sections that I have to see each day to make my day a full-time day, minus my 69 minutes of average plan time every week. Well, some of those folks are getting excess of 200 minutes on days, just because of the way those schedules have shaken out and things. And so that's an area that I think it's one of those deals where you put a frog in boiling water, he's gonna hop out, and put a frog in boiling water and turn it up slow. We just haven't noticed this until it's a bigger issue than I think we thought it was until we discovered that this year. So that's part one of that. The other thing I would say, like our instructional coaches, I'll be the first to say that as a former elementary principal, I couldn't do my job without my instructional coaches. They're your right-hand man. But I would also say that we're a team. And so in situations like that, where we may be asking them to go into the classroom and somebody's picking up some of that slack and helping them, the administrator's gonna pick up some of those things. They're gonna take things off their plate. I know a lot of the times if we have PLC scheduled that day and then coaches go in there and cancel PLCs for the week, I mean, they do things so that they're not having to do all of the work that they would typically do for the week. So while I agree that not all of it's going to go away, a lot of that's going to go away. And so I'm having a hard time supporting this one.
How it applies to different certified employees, absolutely an issue.
And the problem is everybody's going to be entitled to that. Just like, and it goes back to the problem we had in Carterfield. You know what I mean? And I think instead of trying to tighten things up, I think we're making more opportunities to create problems.
And also, this does come at a financial cost as well too. So again, we just keep slowly dripping away the money, you know what I mean? So that always has to be thought of too. There is a financial cost to.
I always struggle with whenever talking this one, with the non-accounting brain in me, because the money that is paid for substitutes already has to be set aside, right? And maybe that's money there.
In an ideal world, there would be a substitute to cover.
Sure. And I think that's gotten drastically better than it was two or 3 years ago.
Right. Because we know we don't.
We don't.
Yes, you're right, that's got.
I mean, Drew made the comment the other day, that Zach, I don't remember how many, we only had 5 positions in district-wide that weren't filled. I mean, that's a huge improvement from what we had 2 years ago, for sure.
It's a different world
No, yeah.
from when I first became a librarian.
I thought maybe Amy might have a question here.
I was just kind of trying to think about is if if we could, is this a thing that you feel like you would be more open to if we could figure out some kind of way to solve the problem of like, some of these people have chunks of time in their day that is not currently occupied, but it's not their planned time, where like, where it wouldn't count for that, if we could figure out some kind of bridge past that particular issue.
No, because like I said, I think a lot of it, like an instructional coach, okay, so they don't really have, I've never worked with an instructional coach where they've had a specific planning time during their day. I've never worked with a counselor that's had, these are my plannings. I mean, they're gonna have time where they're gonna close their door and they're gonna get their office work done. They're gonna do, I mean, like, they're gonna do those things, but they don't have set times. Counselors can't do that because you got a kid who's having a meltdown.
Right.
You can't say, oh, you need to come back in an hour because I'm on plan time. I mean, this doesn't work that way, right? So they're gonna have to be flexible and schedule kind of on the fly. Same thing with instructional coaches, but I think when those things happen and they're pulled out of their typical day, the principals try really hard to take things off of their plate at the same time. And I think the only people that we're talking about when it comes to that really are, you know, that don't have specific plan time are gonna be your instructional coaches. I can't think of any other positions, librarians, I guess. Be in that. You know, your music teachers and things like that, typically what happens when I was there, if we were like in a huge pickle, I would put the music teacher in a classroom and my kids just wouldn't go to music that day because music teachers teach in first grade, and then all my teachers filled out a timesheet for not getting their music plan time that day. That's typically what they would do.
Yeah, that happened to me this year, our
And
science
so,
teacher.
I mean, it doesn't happen a lot anymore. I think it happened a lot more in the past than it.
Our science teacher subbed for sixth grade this year. I filled out a timesheet. I didn't get paid for it because it didn't have sub notes.
Pretty much sub notes.
The notes that the secretary sends in.
Well, you should have called it.
Also,
Because it-
Suzette tried to fix it and I still haven't got paid for it.
Yeah, well, stuff through the comment. I mean, that, stuff like that, I mean, you're gonna have clerical errors there. I don't even know, because that would come down to you, and you even question that stuff.
I don't even know what we're like, so.
If you're subbing,
Somebody
For
subbed,
long-term science, up in sixth grade. So I didn't send my second graders to science that day, so
But
I
she
filled
taught
out
you
a
that part.
timesheet. I kept them in the
so
science
what did
time.
your time sheet say?
No science, it's science in sixth grade.
And so then Maria just didn't like have it.
No, it got sent in, but then I didn't get paid for it. It was in January. There was 2 days in January. Paid for it.
You have to ask Carrie.
we just need to look into it. I mean, there are gonna be clerical errors, but that's typically what happens with our specialist teachers. The high school and the middle school is completely different because it's just your periods, you know, so.
That's right, I think
It's-
when it was happening a lot, the special teachers were getting frustrated, because like.
But I will
they-
tell you,
They had planned their day of, here's what I'm teaching, and then
And
they were
that's-
at a whole different grade
even,
level
even in
of,
the
like-
days when we had interventionists, and we
Yeah.
had a lot of interventionists, I mean, I just had them on a rotation, so.
Yeah, we do.
You're gonna be this day, you're gonna be the next day, and you just, you know, to be fair and consistent, and then if we had to do that, because nesting is really, I think, one of those things, that needs to be our last, because you really don't want to split a class up if you don't have to. That's not good for the class either, and so I think principals try really hard not to do that, because I don't want 7 kids going here and 7 kids going here kind of thing. We need to keep all of our kids in one class. It just makes it easier, and I think learning's always not as great when you have a sub. I mean, I think we'd all agree with that. But I think it's even less when you split your class up than it is when you all together.
Anything else? Pockets for 10, 7:31?
Yeah.
phone, every time it's different.
Hey, Katy Perry.
Like. I think it's pretty good. Last time,
Hear the noise?
all right, me and Jessica got this.
You know, I don't notice the noise until you turn it off and you're like, oh, wow, it's quiet. My old age and my hearing's starting to go. My wife we're being cheap right now because we don't want to turn the AC on, but
Oh, yeah.
it's usually hot for the first couple hours when you get home. She's got this fan in the family room. And so I got the TV turned up to like 65 with the captions on, and I still don't understand what's going on the TV.
Yeah, after talking, we understand some of your concerns with nesting. So we would like to table this, have a chance to go back and talk about it a little bit more, as a team and potentially come back to it, with potential changes.
But also,
But how did you guys, we didn't talk about the removing the cap sizes in there.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't understand why it was,
Yeah.
that was done long before us.
Well,
It's inboard policy, so.
I
it
think
was
it-
put in 3 years ago when Russ was head and Jason.
I have some talk.
Jason Johnson was the problem. That reported somewhere?
Last year, when we came back and like adjusted stuff, the cap size became irrelevant.
Okay.
I was looking at it this year, I was like, why am I this
I
here?
feel like that's in policy, so
Yeah.
it's just redundant.
I know.
It's just like, we have a
Well, I mean,
we have a riffing policy, but we also have it outlined. And our riffing policy says, in the event that we ever have to do that, which in my opinion, would be very bad, you follow the training. So why do you even have the policy?
Good policy.
You would
I like
only
that
put it
policy.
in there if you did what we said, what we recommended and the pay above. I
Right.
mean, that's why it was in theirs, because that was previous.
That's the answer.
That's the answer, it's so
In
previous.
The original policy, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to talk.
We can allow you to
The original policy was completely based on being over the cap.
over the cap,
Okay.
so that's why it was in there.
So. All right. Decided to go
What else you got?
there? I'll just wait.
We'll take, I'm gonna
Oh,
take
yeah.
this, I'll bring this up, we got SAC on
Okay.
Thursday, I got the principal, so I'll run this week.
Okay.
Because
We think there,
there may be issues there that they see that I'm not seeing.
Sure.
I mean, I've been out of the building, I recognize, but I've been out of the building for 6 years.
well,
And I think
we
it's totally
there's-
like
yeah.
a hard problem to solve, right? Like I feel like I can, you know, sort of somewhat fundamentally understand, like, okay, you have this block of time in your day where you do not have something to do, like.
It's not just your plan time.
Right.
But it's all, you also don't have designated right responsibility to that day.
Well, like, when I was in the building, we had like one extra session. We just had an intervention group, and it was easy to do, well. You know, and I think Principal Craig can really creative, how they set their schedule with COVID. Because there was such a shortage of subs, and so that way they could keep things going, you know, and then they just never moved away.
Just say COVID.
So, this,
Do you want to add our thing in there?
oh, yeah.
Again, just trying to think about what we have to let.
What I had an actual issue with this week was the GCA. That one was,
The struggle?
yeah. Matrix. Right?
I think so, it's 100, yeah.
All right. We'll go to display of association materials. Actually, let's do, sorry. We'll do GC and meeting minutes.
Do we have any language in the negotiating agreement about this stuff?
Yes.
Okay, where's it at?
I don't remember the exact.
It's for the-
Article 12, section D.
60. 60. 60.
Article 13, section E.
59.
Section E.
Architects.
Wait, what are, okay, wait. I said 60 and then I went to,
Page 60, because it has like.
oh, there's
Article 13 is association rights and responsibilities.
the first thing that said.
Article what?
13, association rights and responsibilities. Section B, certified employee association representatives visitate, so wordy, during the school day.
Are you proposing changing language to one of these sections or adding another section?
Changing.
Okay.
That's section B, sorry. So 59, section B.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Correct.
So the top is what the old language was with the changes, and then the bottom is what it would look like once the changes are made.
At the top I have article, just so you know, it says article 12, that's article 13.
That your informational meetings last.
Notice the little split into like different time schedules, so whatever those look like.
So basically, taking it from the superintendent to the building administrator for approval, and then adding informational meetings. Like it,
And the only exception to the building association.
during a staff. One person.
Do you, what's the motive behind this? Do you think this garners more like participation or ability to?
One of the things that we feel like we struggle with is communicating expectations from the GCEA about what changes have been made. Well, actually, which part are you talking about? Let me address that specifically.
Well, all of it. kind
Okay,
of.
so
I mean, yeah.
so the one about the informational needs, I'll start there first. We feel like the one last year you guys allowed us to do was very effective in being able to communicate changes in the
Here's the
negotiated
changes.
agreement. Here's the changes, here's
What are
why,
the things you need to know?
yeah.
And when was that one, you might get?
We did that, we did
Very
PD
first
day,
two
it was
days.
a PD
Yeah,
day.
it was a meeting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
We
two
took
sessions.
two sessions, did that. Leave and I did it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, leave, I did it, I just took there, looked pretty.
That's just the question. And so that one is, that's why. The new teacher one is just an extension of that.
Yeah.
Because the PD days, the new teachers didn't come, and we think part of the reason is like, they don't know what they don't know.
And
And
they
so-
have so much.
And they-
Because there's so much they have to get. So one that we can actually just talk to new teachers and tell them, hey, this is what new negotiating covers, these are
To be
things
able
you
to
need
be
to
in
know.
the sick bank, you have to do
Right.
it every day. Similar.
Tracy, I'm gonna jump in anytime. You feel like we're- Okay, if there's anything I missed. The other ones, that is for the staff meetings, kind of the same idea. As things crop up, for example, like the sick bank thing this year. We did it at the beginning of the year, but then when that came around in October this year, we could have been like before a staff meeting, hey,
Last chance.
this is your last chance to donate a day, that sort of thing.
So I know one of the issues that, and I think there's probably a fix to this, but we've been talking, we've already started having conversations about what new teacher PD is gonna look like next year.
Yeah.
And we're kind of,
Short on time.
well, and we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater and
Sure.
revamping the whole thing.
Gotcha.
And so there's not gonna be hardly any district time at all. It's gonna be almost all in their
All
buildings with their
Oh.
principals and their coaches.
Good.
So, which I think everybody wants.
Yeah.
I think Drew has set it up where there's gonna be a half a day where they're gonna get their iPad checked out to them. They're gonna do a tour of the community kind of thing. And that's gonna be it. The rest of the time that I've seen so far is gonna be there. So I don't know, unless you guys are willing to go to every building. I mean, I think you could schedule that with building administration, and I don't think they'd have a problem with that. But I think that's probably gonna have to be on a smaller scale than to get
Right.
everybody together in one group.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, yeah. That's
And I don't wanna put that language in there because that could change from year to year. I mean, I don't wanna.
I mean, that makes total sense to have in other buildings. You know,
And so,
Sorry, go ahead.
and then you wanna have one staff meeting per semester to, what would that look like?
So the example from this year would have been, I can't give you an example, but the sick bank,
The sick bank?
when that comes around, hey, this is your last chance to donate. We have a call for days in the future.
But not necessarily the whole
No.
meeting.
Oh, gotcha.
Just conducting business
Just the
at
opportunity to.
Cause that, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's where I'm at. I'm like,
Yeah, just to be on the agenda.
Gotcha.
cause that would be my other thing. I know this, and this has been a long time ago, but it turned into kind of there was a year where negotiations got done. They were going building to building to share that information, and there were some teachers that didn't want to stay for the whole thing. They just wanted to be able to vote, leave. Felt like they were being held captive. I mean, I think that needs to be voluntary
Oh,
kind of thing.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe like at the end of a staff meeting, at the end, you will have an opportunity. to say
Yeah, I
something.
mean, I think we can talk about that.
I'm just, well, that's all right.
So, and I'm guessing when you say association business, it would be stuff that's gonna be pretty much the same message, building to building.
Yeah, we have.
But it's
so we
gonna
have-
come through your building rep.
Correct. Yes, we have building reps that we identified at most of our buildings. It would be distinct that.
Okay.
And I mean, to be perfectly frank, like, we probably will like to see it,
Sure.
you know,
Unless-
both semesters, like it probably will just be for both semesters.
You could just put it after every meeting if you want. And we will probably only use it a couple times,
Well,
but.
I know there's a couple buildings that don't have staffing either, so you guys are gonna have
Can
to.
you tell me which one?
Targets, try to transfer. It would never have been a building that I worked in, because there was
Want
only
that transfer
that I would have tried to get staff. Okay. You guys need to caucus?
How about you guys?
Do you need a
I'd like
conversation?
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, I
always
was
give
like-
you the chance.
I was like,
to
I don't know,
say
you can
yes.
have them caucus on their own idea.
I thought Levi was saying that he needed a caucus.
No, I knew you were going to,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
your first paragraph after the staff meetings, at least one time per semester, we propose the sentence, this must be scheduled with building administration and agenda topics must have prior approval from the superintendent or their designee. And then additionally, the association, instead of, just because this first year, it may not be guaranteed to have time. So put in additionally, the association may work with district admin to schedule the opportunity to conduct at least one informational meeting with its members during a designated district and service day held near the beginning of the school year when possible, period. Informational meetings with new certified employees during their additional days at the start of the year may be scheduled with building or district administration when possible.
So my issue with, I'm gonna give it completely upfront. We've got one in-service day at the beginning of the school year. Half of that's gonna be a district day, half of that's gonna be a building day. So to give you guys time, we're gonna have the convocation, we're gonna have department meetings, and that's pretty much gonna be it, I think. And then everybody's going to their class, or going to their classrooms, going to their buildings. So I can't guarantee you time this year. You know what I mean? That's gonna happen every 3 years. But I think on the years that we have it, we do like we did last year, Levi. I don't have a problem with that. We just need to know that the schedule's not always gonna work like that. For as long as we're doing it, it's gonna have to be that way, because we pull that day off the front and we put it in September to double up with September. So.
Can you go over that again? Just go-
Okay. Yep, so the sentence after your first paragraph, this must be scheduled with building administration and agenda topics must have prior approval from the superintendent or their designee. And then the second paragraph, taking out shall be granted and replacing it with may work with district administration to schedule. And then towards the end of that sentence, so it says, district administration to schedule the opportunity to conduct at least one informational meeting with its members during a designated district and service day held near the beginning of the school year when possible, period. And then take out as well as at least one and start a new sentence that just says informational meetings with new certified employees during their additional days at the start of the year may be scheduled with building or district administration when possible.
That way, if it's a district day, it's scheduled with district admin. If it's building day, then just schedule with. And what I would do there is probably just put like a schedule together that we pass around at SAC that would work for you guys, and each principal could sign up for a time slot. I'll work with you to make sure it's gonna be something easy. That's what I said.
Sorry, every time you say SAC, I think that's worse than Slack, like, oh, Slack's not that bad. Sorry,
It's
that was
advisory council.
So last time,
chasing a bird.
last time I remember discussion.
Safe learning advisory.
A council.
We're here,
coordinating
you said
about a
Slack.
Council.
That I would be on, and every time Amy was like,
That hasn't been said.
but then every time you said Slack.
It feels like a good idea, is all I'm saying.
It's gonna be like an essay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Done.
Put that in the matrix.
Board of Education.
Yeah, it's a board.
Just to be clear, it's scheduled with building administration, not approved by the.
Oh,
What are you reading?
The very end.
At the end of the very first paragraph? I mean,
Yeah, we're basically
The agenda
approving
topics have to be
the,
approved by the superintendent, but
that's the only thing that's.
they have to schedule it with you, so
Yeah.
just make sure that it's time that's gonna work for them. Yeah. I mean, if I don't have a problem with you guys having.
well, I mean, frankly, a lot of buildings and principals would let us already.
Yes,
The
and I
reason we're
think,
putting it in there
I think there's
is
some
so
buildings that-
all-
yeah, I think there are some buildings that actually already do that, but
Yes.
not all buildings do that, so,
So I just want to make sure that was
Yeah.
the intent was still there.
yeah.
There's
And I don't want you to feel like I'm micromanaging the
No,
agenda. I just wanna make sure it's,
I understand why.
if there's hot button topics,
Sure.
I wanna be in the know before that gets, you know what I mean? Just so that we can
Maybe
prepare
need
for
to
that.
have our SROs available.
Yeah.
I think it would be certified employee doing the title. Someone on how just put association representative. I hate it. Certified employees, association representatives, visitation. Association, vegetation. Rights. Now we're having a parenting,
I just think you can put
Document.
association representative visitation during contract hours.
yeah, association, visitation. During contract hours.
All right. Questions?
What page are those?
I don't know, I tried to find it.
Oh. Do we have a tab
Oh,
for
it's
it?
part of, that should be
Article 12.
But I mean, a tab.
Article 13, correct? Am I wrong with that? In the what you're giving?
Oh, it is Article
It
13.
It's
is
13.
13.
I had.
Oh, you just, it's a
12
typo.
down. I made it.
Be section A, right?
Section B.
Section B. Well, there's only one paragraph. Section B.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can,
they're
yeah,
Hold
I
on.
added it,
all
yeah.
of this, it's the light color.
But all this that's crossed out, where was that at? Was that in the first?
Oh,
paragraph?
it was, and then
Oh,
when
you
it
just
like
split it up.
bumped
Okay.
down, sorry.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha, okay. Oh, yep, I see it now.
I do feel like that part is a lot more succinct.
Only have 4 open.
I have two different browser windows, one with the tabs from school today that I did not close. And then one with tabs that are like this meeting. For example, I have the negotiated agreement open on this tab, even though it's in front of me, because I control that.
Over 30.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
As I'm sitting here counting, I think I printed this, I think I can get rid of that.
Listen, sometimes when I get too many tabs open and then something happens and like my computer like needs to restart and I have the feeling that I'm like, oh, I'm free of this tab, like I'm free of these obligations that I put on myself to do something with these.
I don't need 2 tablets.
You see it up there?
Jessica.
Come on, wake up.
Yep, there you go. There you go, buddy. You've just been promoted.
Need a
We turned green at night. That's stressful.
I think a lot.
We didn't vote that.
Oh,
No, we
didn't vote
did.
yet? Yeah, we did.
See, that's what happens.
I drew a happy face on my phone.
Maybe I could give you a
Sure
guess,
did.
you were, maybe.
I'm checking to make sure I can my kid. I don't have to pay any fee.
Yeah, 803.
Yeah.
Should we call it there, or should we go on the next one?
What do you got?
They-
Are you doing the
Let's do
last?
it.
Yeah,
Let's
do
pick
it.
this whole section
Display of
out.
association materials.
Yeah.
Especially if you've already got it written, typed
Yeah.
up for us.
Not at all.
It's not a whole bunch, it's fine.
That one I'll take. Who's doing my?
So this is section C.
Yeah,
Maybe
same
go below
thing.
that.
That caused this, or are you just trying to open it up?
Same things earlier, where some buildings allow that, some buildings do not.
Like, I guess, what would that be? Give me an example.
Sure, so we had, actually, no, you probably better.
I was gonna say, is he talking about the bottom part? or
Yeah,
just
the bottom
top?
part. The top part,
Like, are you talking about what they're adding or what they're taking?
I mean, the top part, we're just saying, we've always had a bulletin board in the lab for DCA,
But
correct?
some people weren't allowing it.
Yeah.
But the language says that they,
This
the old language.
Must have
fire,
fire.
fire approval, building principal. That's where some of it were. On the bottom, Jessica, I just emailed you some examples of education posters. I don't know if you. But
Oh,
you're on your email?
No.
Oh,
Well, I'm in my email, but I'm not at Josh's.
Oh,
Are you?
I mean, the idea is like,
My email's not open.
like, they make educational posters and it says like NEA in their education.
Education is liberation.
How are you, freedom,
And you're just asking that these could be in the lounge or a classroom.
that these could be put into the classroom.
if you remember.
Those are books, aren't they?
This,
Some.
Or are they posters?
these are
Books,
posters.
but these was the one. But they, NEA will send out like, hey, students from across the country have built this poster, you know, send it out to us. But then we have questions from our members, like, are we allowed to do this? And we're like, well. And to be clear, not all of them are students, some of them are posters just at NEA, but sometimes they are. Like we have, posters created from artwork created by students from KNEA
For their scholarship.
for their scholarships, like that.
Big thing. Provided it doesn't disrupt education. That would be my only issue if it was something controversial that was gonna be a disruption. When they, your kids, but I think that's important. Special responsibility there, but I don't know that I have an issue with that. You guys, do we need a caucus? Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, yeah, I'm good. Let's vote.
Tracy said it was quick.
I was like, I think we can get this.
You know, can I say something real quick before we
Yeah.
vote? One thing that might be good though, is I think if there is, well, no, never mind. Yeah, let's vote.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Craziness.
I can't handle things like that, Josh. I need closure. Say what you were gonna say.
I will.
After we vote.
All I was gonna say is, if there is an event where it's something that the principal would determine to be controversial, I think that's an opportunity before people freak out, that we all need to just sit down and have a logical conversation, you know what I mean? And work through that, so that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah,
But I don't think we need to put that in here, I just think we
That's
need
not
to,
different than anything.
anything we do, yeah, and that's why I said we
I
can.
agree.
Appreciates.
Discussion closed, now we're gonna- Did we vote?
Yeah, we.
It's like that episode.
Yeah, don't you remember?
Josh, do you ever watch
Kids'
Big
rodeo.
Bang Theory? Josh, do you ever watch Big Bang Theory?
Oh, I've watched the whole search part
That one
4
where
times.
he plays the tic-tac-toe game with Amy and she
And
doesn't let,
she,
and
yeah,
then the birthday cake and she blows out
and
the
then at the
candle.
very end,
That's-
they do it all.
Hey,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Love that.
That's probably one of the funniest shows. I think Sheldon Cooper's one of the best characters.
Oh my
ever made for
gosh,
television.
is he?
It's great, I love that.
Yes.
My sister is Amy. Randy can say that. My sister is Amy. Not you, Amy.
Amy Fowler.
I get called Sheldon all the time because I have one spot that I have to sit in at home, and like if JJ or Mary's, I make them move. 'cause
Oh,
it's my
yeah.
spot. Okay, Sheldon.
I'll let us know, I'll tell you right now.
Well, the benefit though, the benefit is we've done the language as we've gone, so it'll be a little easier to cut and paste.
Yeah.
Okay,
And in theory.
Main theory, because some of it I have to summarize.
Speaking of,
yeah, let's talk about what we're gonna talk about next week. What do we wanna bring up? I mean, at this point, if you look here, everything is GCA, I think, at this point, so. Well,
You point fingers.
yeah, we voted on those are done. Yeah, we may have some both things.
yeah, there's some both at the top.
Yeah,
at the very
yeah,
top.
you wanna talk about salaries.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Also leave
that's always last, so.
and adoption.
Oh, we already did adoption of the calendar, unless you guys had something.
No,
else.
remember
We
we said we
have-
had more.
One more,
No,
but
we have,
Drew,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
we have one more, because Amber wasn't here for it, and then
Oh,
Drew needs to be here for it truthfully too, so.
okay, yeah, well, he's a traitor.
Yeah, that's why.
Good call.
But that could be in the first.
Yeah, we can do that
agenda,
next
so
week.
let me get this.
The calendar committee,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
We should probably put grievance procedure on next week's agenda. Today we're gonna have a meeting beforehand to talk about it.
Good call.
Reassignments, transfers, Drew will be back, adoption school calendar. Nesting tentatively, we'll see how much we can get done between now and then, because we actually don't have a meeting between now and then scheduled, so. Tentative on that one.
What, you guys wanna give us a hint on what you're thinking about the calendar? Or anything we need to have prepared?
It's like,
It's gonna blast me.
gonna add some stipulations in there
Yeah.
Or,
for calendar meeting.
okay,
I'm all Amber.
long as, yeah,
Nothing great.
as long as Drew's the one handling that.
Well, besides Amy is forced to be on the calendar committee,
No,
besides that.
no.
I like that, yeah, she's got a
Actually,
lifetime,
so you can't
a
do that.
lifetime role.
It's great.
If you're gonna be on the
Thank
meeting,
you for your.
Hey, the association gets to appoint.
I'll be on the calendar committee if I'm on the naming committee and it's an SAT.
That's it.
I'll
Donate
do
my
that.
time.
I'll do that one.
So yeah, reassignments, transfers, adoption school calendar, grievance procedure, Then you wanna do like PTO or first missile?
Either one of those, I think.
PTO will need to be first then, because.
Only because you gotta leave.
Oh,
Why don't we do PTO first? Because
And
that's,
then Drew will be here for the.
that's a good. You're the one there.
She's like, I'm aware it's
You're
good.
the one paying that.
So PTO first, probably grievance procedure next. Just because it's gonna be the day of, so like. that.
It'll be fresh on our mind.
Yeah.
And honestly, the thing that we want to talk about is be trivial, but like, you said,
Grievance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good time transfers. We're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
No for me. It is next week, Monday, yeah?
Yep.
So-
April, I believe it's the 28th.
you got.
What's nice?
Do it.
You need to add the
I
word
had to pull over
not
instead of sitting.
in here.
Pull over, pull over. Nice and pull over.
No, pull over, like a quarter zip. Do you have any of those?
Polo is,
Yeah.
I actually just
Oh,
polo.
I said pull over.
I thought I heard,
did
pull over, that's what I thought I heard.
Pull over.
That redneck accent coming through again.
And you're old? You gotta make it
Yeah,
old.
old. My wife is.
They didn't say the old.
My
word,
wife
it
is
was
from the
day
Upper
before students
Peninsula
began.
of Michigan.
So before the first.
So every once in a while, she'll have some Uper words come out. And so instead of about, it's a boat. It's boat time. And my buddy Tony in college would always be like, Mary, there's no boat around here.
I just clapping this for no reason.
What are you
Scared me.
talking about?
Lauren's boyfriend's from Canada.
Oh, don't you
Oh
know?
my gosh.
You just like to
Dick
hear.
up, eh, hoser?
The washroom. I'm like, don't need to go to do laundry. I'm just going to the bathroom. No, the washroom is where you do laundry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the washroom.
I'll work into they're kind of pricey.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
If I get you, well, yeah, it's all about making money. That logo ain't free. I can get that. That's smart. Right. All confidence.
Yeah, just let me know.
Randy.
Randy, yeah. Oh, we're just talking about who's missing.
My soon-to-be son-in-law, his family are like diehard baseball fans. I've told you this before, so.
Okay.
For Christmas, I got his mom and dad a baseball cap and a t-shirt.
Hey, we got a few things done today. I'm
Got a
feeling
Garden City there.
accomplished.
Yeah, I think
Right,
the
yeah.
other ones were like
Three more
$80,
meetings.
but there was
Well,
a knockout brand. They were like
I had all those awkward days because they weren't getting much done.
Yeah, I'll try.
Now,
So there's a some kind of a baseball tournament happening in the city. Graduation.
Replace conference report with updated template.
So that's what they're doing for his after party. They got tickets to, they're leaving Thursday
You want
night.
what number?
All day Friday, all
Are
day
they playing
Saturday.
down on the river?
I think so. We can, yeah, are you comfortable if we turn it off?
So
Levi?
appendix F
Yes.
is.
Tom?
Yeah.
We don't need to get